Hey, what's up, guys? What's up, YouTube? How's it going? What's up, Instagram? All right. So, how's everybody doing out there? You guys doing good? Thanks for joining me today. So, we got some good stuff to talk about today. Let's see what's new. Not too much. So, today I'm going to be talking about how to boost your sexual vitality. Welcome to another episode of Semen Retention Talk. I'm Johnathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. So sexual vitality, your sexual vitality, your overall sexual health and balance, your libido is a reflection of your overall health. Sexual ability is really an expression of abundance of the body. The body's only able to engage in sex if it has an abundance of resources, high health, high vitality. So your sexual vitality is a really good sort of sign or sort of diagnosis of your overall health and balance. And so how do we boost our sexual vitality and really our overall health and balance? So in Chinese medicine, the sexual energy is related to the kidneys. The kidneys are the water element, right? But it's not just the physical kidneys. The kidney system in Chinese medicine involves the genitals, the reproductive organs, the adrenals, really all the fluids in the body, the bladder as well. And they say that it's very much in line with what's known as Jing. Jing is physical essence. It's you could almost think of it as like your reservoir of life force. Jing is what's creating your body in every moment. And when you run out of Jing, you die. So it also takes Jing to create, for men, sperm. It's an expression of our Jing. Hormones and things like that are very much related to Jing. And so when you're deficient in Jing, you will have low sexual vitality, low health, poor health, low energy levels. You won't feel very good in general, right? And so we live in a very unbalanced world, very excessively stimulating. There's a lot of toxic factors in our world. Our air is being poisoned, our water is being poisoned, there's poisons in our foods. So it's important to understand this. It's important to understand that everything you put in or on your body is affecting you. So obviously you want to look at, what am I eating? What am I putting in my body? You want to eat clean. You want to eat organic foods. You don't want to be putting pesticides and genetically modified plants in your body. You don't want to eat animals that have been, raised in tiny cages. They've been basically tortured their whole lives, getting pumped up with hormones. All that ends up in your body. That vibration, all of it ends up in your body, okay? And that's going to affect your vitality. So eating clean, eating organic, eating foods that are not processed, that are as close to their original form as possible, as they were harvested, they'll be full of life force. So staying hydrated, it's important to get plenty of clean water. I don't recommend drinking tap water here in the US. Get a high quality filter. You don't want to put fluoride in your body. You don't want to be drinking chlorine and a lot of this other, nasty stuff that our water here in the US is laced with. Breathing fresh air. Breath practices are very important. Your breathing is very much related to your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state, and your vitality. When you're filled with anxiety, when you're stressed out, when you're depressed, you'll notice that your breathing is very shallow. And it's often coming up from up in the chest. Your belly's all tense, it's locked up, and you're taking these short, shallow breaths from your chest. What you really want to do is improve your breathing by doing breath practices, pranayama type practices, where you're consciously breathing, taking deep breaths, especially breathing low into the belly, breathing below the navel, helps to, taking deep breaths, you'll get more oxygenated, helps you to detox. One of the main forms of detoxification in the body is through the breath. Every time you exhale, you're releasing carbon dioxide and releasing, this waste from your cells. So when you're not breathing very well, when you have shallow, constricted breaths, then your health is going to suffer. So doing breath practices every day, just do some simple, put your hands on your belly and take a deep breath. spend 5 to 10 minutes a day doing that, and that's a super simple way to improve your sexual vitality. And in Chinese medicine, so the lungs represent the metal element. And in the creation cycle, which is sort of how the elements feed into each other, the metal sinks down and nourishes the water. The water is the kidneys we were talking about, your sexual vitality. So doing breath practices is a effective way of boosting your sexual vitality. Exercise is important. You need to move your body, improving your circulation so that your blood stays flowing is very, very important. Getting your heart rate up, do some gentle cardio regularly. I like to go to the gym. I like to lift weights. That's good for your hormones, doing strength training, but move your body. Our bodies were made to move. And when you become stagnant, your health suffers. So it's a super simple way to boost your energy and feel good is exercise. Physical exercise is very important, but also doing energetic exercises. So things like Qigong. Qigong is one of my favorite practices. It really boosts your sexual potency because you're directly recharging. You're boosting your gene by recharging, connecting with the earth's energy, connecting with the energy of the elements. It's a super effective way to recharge yourself. Also, avoiding stress and overworking. Again, we live in a very overstimulated world. We're rewarded for multitasking as much as possible, accomplishing as much as possible. But if you never have any stillness, any yin time, you're going to burn yourself out. And the sexual hormones, your sexual vitality suffers from this. This is very, very common. And so a lot of sexual dysfunctions are from too much stress or low desire. Low sexual desire often happens when you're stressed out because there's a lot of cortisol being released into your blood. For men, testosterone is lowered because of this. So taking some time every day to have some quiet, still time is very, very important for your overall balance and vitality. A really good way to do this is to spend some time in nature every day. When you walk through a forest, there's certain chemicals, natural chemicals that are interacting with your body, from the trees, from the plants, and you feel good naturally and it boosts your energy. You're recharging. So it's really, really important to spend some time in nature. It's good for your health, your vitality, and feeling good. I want to share some really powerful, some superfoods and supplements that will build your sexual vitality as well. Zinc is number one. Men, it's important you're getting enough zinc in your diet. Take a zinc supplement. I recommend a zinc supplement for most people. I take usually either chelated zinc or ionic zinc, but that's one of the main minerals required to produce testosterone, and it's important for semen production as well. So get enough zinc. Some of my favorite herbs, sexual vitality boosting herbs, maca root number one. It's a major fertility promoting herb, super powerful, really energy building, helps balance out your endocrine system. Goji berries are filled with all kinds of minerals, vitamins, antioxidants. I eat goji berries every day. They're one of the number one sexual energy boosting foods. And some supplements I like to take. I like to take some Chinese herbal yin formulas, kidney yin formulas. They boost that Jing energy. He Shou Wu, there's a formulation I take by Dragon Herbs called He Shou Wu, and it really nourishes, really builds that Jing, that sexual energy. What else? Pine pollen. Pine pollen is really amazing. It's really good for men. Strong testosterone booster, strong sexual energy booster. Also mucuna pruriens. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but mucuna, it contains L-Dopa, which is a precursor to dopamine. So it helps balance out your dopamine levels. And it helps you produce more human growth hormone as well. So that's a really great one for sexual vitality. Let's see what else. Bee pollen and royal jelly, really amazing. Shilajit, yeah. Those are some great sexual vitality boosting herbs. So you take those every day, you're going to feel really juicy, really energized. And so just to sum up what I've been saying, eat clean, don't eat all these processed foods. Don't put all this junk in your body, or it's going to take its toll on you, right? Don't eat fried foods. I avoid sugar, alcohol. I don't do much dairy either. So eat clean, eat organic, drink high quality fresh water, Breathing practices, very important. Make sure your breath is deep and balanced. Not taking shallow breaths all day. Exercise, get out in nature. Have some quiet, calm time every day to keep yourself balanced, and take those superfoods, those supplements, and it will boost your sexual vitality. Okay, I'm going to answer some questions now. Some questions. Can I bring my ex back with semen retention? How does this help? Well, it depends. Depends what caused you guys to split. Depends, what the whole dynamic is. Semen retention isn't going to fix everything in your life, but it will give you more energy, more confidence. It'll boost your testosterone. So that can help you maybe get your ex back, but there's no guarantees with it. Again, it depends on what the situation is. What are your thoughts on jelqing, sharpening the knife, as Montauk Chia says? I heard you mention Angion method recently. Any of this stuff work for increasing girth? So jelqing is a common practice where you're, I've taught it before in the past, but what I'm finding now is that it's actually not the best practice to do because it forcefully moves blood in your penis in the direction it's not meant to move. That's why I've switched to the Angion method, which I'm talking about now, which is much superior in my opinion. Some people will have girth gains from doing these exercises because it develops the blood vessels in your penis and will expand. You'll have, bigger erections and things like that. It will definitely improve the quality of your erections as well. Premature ejaculation. All right, so it's a very common issue for men. You're not alone if you're struggling with this. I won't go too in depth to this, but the basics of premature ejaculation, the most common causes are hypertension, this hypertension response in the pelvic floor, meaning that when your penis is stimulated, you contract your pelvic floor in response. This stimulates the nerves, contracting the BC muscles in the perineum. It activates the nerves of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, which ejaculation is linked to. So basically, when you're squeezing your pelvic floor during sexual stimulation, it's making you ejaculate quickly. And this is often an involuntary, uncontrollable response for men because they have these tension patterns. So the remedy to this is, of course, being able to balance out those pelvic floor muscles. So doing reverse Kegels, which is basically like if you're trying to urinate and push it out more, that's reverse Kegels. It's a pushing out sort of feeling. So do those, 10 seconds. Do a 10-second reverse Kegel. Do that 10 times, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. Do that every day. That will help start to relax your pelvic floor more as well. Another important thing is that, again, because ejaculation is a function of the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, you need to be able to stay calm, stay in the parasympathetic state, the calm, grounded state. The easiest way to do this is deep, slow belly breathing and relaxing your body. Men tend to tense up during sex and start breathing from the chest, and this makes a man ejaculate very quickly. So doing this long, slow belly breathing during sex, train on your own, try it with self-stimulation, see if you can focus on breathing as you're sexually stimulating. And this helps you to focus your mind on something besides sexual stimulation, which can be overstimulating, right? So it helps you to kind of keep your mind focused on this deep breathing, getting in a rhythm with that, and helps you control your ejaculation, basically. I don't eat a lot of dairy because dairy comes from pregnant cows. It's loaded with estrogen often, especially, most dairy products coming from cows that are abused. They're in horrible living situations. They're fed like corn and things like that, which cows should not be eating, and they're injected with hormones. So, but of course, there's like grass-fed dairy, which if I'm going to do anything, I do butter. I do grass-fed butter. Butter's a bit different, but dairy often contains a lot of estrogen, phytoestrogens because it comes from pregnant cows. And I just noticed that I tend to develop acne when I eat dairy. So I don't do much cheese at all. I don't do milk. I do a bit of butter though, because grass-fed butter is very beneficial. Doing the Qigong videos, getting your mom involved. That's awesome, brother. Okay, when doing the reverse Kegels, it's not like as hard as you can. It's kind of a gentle pushing, a firm but gentle pushing out. But you should kind of feel like there's this outward expansion happening. You try to relax your pelvic floor at the same time. If you push too hard, it kind of has the counter response of clenching as a response. So it's a mild pushing. You have to kind of play with it and experiment, but you should feel like your pelvic floor is expanding and you're able to relax it a bit as you're doing that reverse Kegel. It takes some practice. I feel right knee pain a lot after Zhanzhuan. Do you have any insights? Zhanzhuan is a Qigong practice. I teach it in my course. It's my daily, it's the foundation of my daily practice. It's really amazing practice, very grounding. But if you're having knee pain, it means that something's wrong. Be careful. Joint pain in general is not a good sign. So you want to make sure your hip, your knee, and your ankle are all in a straight line. If your hip's like, practice in front of a mirror. If your hip's kind of caving inward, that's a big problem because all of your weight is on your knee. If it's kind of collapsing outward, that's a problem as well. So make sure your hip, knee below the hip, and the ankle are all in a straight line of force. And make sure you're relaxing. We tend to stand on our knees, have a lot of tension. We're like standing on our knees. Knee problems are very common. So you have to release the butt, release the thigh, release the pressure through the knees and into the feet. It takes a bit of, but that's why I recommend practicing in front of a mirror, because then you see where your distortions are happening in your body. Pros, cons of taking CBD supplements. Yeah, I mean, CBD can be very helpful. It's not really psychoactive. It doesn't get you high, like THC. So it doesn't have those effects of kind of messing with your energy and your hormone levels. So CBD seems to be just fine. So if it works for you, that's fine, in my experience. Not feeling the tingling feeling of Qi yet, but sticking with it because I feel in tune with the universe and better mood. Yeah, so Qigong, it's kind of the foundations of training is first you're just doing the practice. You don't feel much Qi engagement, but you feel calmer, you feel more present. You're getting tons of benefits from it. Then as you develop your Qi, the more you practice, as you start to really build a charge, it starts to become very, very tangible. Then eventually it becomes like electrical fluid surging through your body. Qi is very tangible once you really build up your practice. Herbal or substance suggestions for both parties to help ground and facilitate Tantra. Well, I don't recommend taking psychoactive substances. You can open yourself up to a lot of forces that you don't know how to control or deal with. And, especially when you're doing sexual practices, because that already opens you up. So if you're messing with psychoactive substances, then you can be asking for trouble. But as far as herbs, you can take some herbs that boost blood flow, herbs that boost, libido, and that can, help you guys connect or be in the mood, right? So things like Hisho Wu, goji berries, maca root, really, really great. Sea moss is good. Yeah, sea moss has it has tons of nutrients in it. It's very nutrient dense food. Okay, started practicing Zhanzhuan for grounding, as I told, and it's very effective. I feel grounded again. Would you like to add anything else I need to be aware in the future with grounding? So again, Zhanzhuan is a Qigong practice that I teach. You can try some of the Qigong flows. The Qigong, I have I have a whole playlist of Qigong videos on YouTube. I just released a new one that's like a full Qigong class. So try that out, because Zhanzhuan is great, the standing meditation. You're standing in these energizing postures, just building Qi, just accumulating Qi, charging up. But it's good to do some movement because it kind of really helps circulate it throughout your body. I heard too many Kegels will cause involuntary contractions. Yes, this is the issue with doing too many Kegels. And most people are teaching Kegels as like the go-to exercise for men to last longer in bed. But the problem is that when you're only doing Kegels, you're squeezing these muscles all the time. They get very, very tense. It's like going to the gym and doing bench presses every day, but never doing anything else, never stretching out, you're going to get very, very tense and tight. That's what happens with men's pelvic floors, is that from doing too many Kegels without stretching it back out, or bad masturbation habits where you're squeezing during masturbation or sex, you develop this hypertension. So that's why I recommend, if you do Kegels, you should only do Kegels in conjunction with reverse Kegels. But I recommend reverse Kegels, primarily. Viagra can have a lot of negative health effects. It can severely damage your penis. I don't recommend taking, pharmaceuticals if you can avoid it. There's a lot of, lifestyle changes, foods, supplements you can take that will be much better for you in the long run than taking Viagra. Do you think our sexual energy and libido has any effect with our astrology placements? Yeah, there's a bit of effect from astrology. It's like, what's the sign? I'm blanking right now. Scorpio. Scorpio is high sexual energy. So if you have Scorpio in your chart, typically you're much more, you're much more interested in these sexual practices and tantra and sexual alchemy and things like that. I bought an organ necklace. Will that help? I'm not sure what it will help with, but orgonite, organ, it can be very beneficial, definitely. What about Kundalini? What about Kundalini? What's your question with that? Reverse Kegel is a pushing outward. So like in a Kegel, you're squeezing. Reverse Kegel, you're pushing. So it's like if you're urinating, you're pushing it out. It's that kind of activation. So it's this pushing out on the pelvic floor. For solo practitioners, do you recommend the yin absorption like Chia mentions, penis pointed towards earth while soft? I mean, that works, but I use different practices for yin absorption. I do Qigong practices where I'm absorbing the earth's energy, or, laying on the earth, things like that. And that does it for me. Yeah, testicle massage is very beneficial. Helps improve sperm production, hormonal production, and to keep your boys healthy. I recommend all men doing testicle massage daily for sure. Can Kundalini be used to help in semen retention? I'm not exactly sure the context of that question. Kundalini is this very, very powerful energy that alters your consciousness. It rises up the central channel, and basically it makes you multidimensional. You're going to see into other worlds, have very, psychedelic experiences. And so, I mean, in regards to semen retention, I'm not exactly sure what the context is there. Number one herb, goji berries and maca root are really awesome. Really, really accessible herbs for people. Schizandra. I forgot to mention schizandra. It's spelled Chisandra. That's a very common, fairly inexpensive Chinese herb. Really, really awesome sexual libido booster, overall energy booster. I use schizandra instead of like caffeine. Do I do dopamine detox? I do. I was doing dopamine detoxes once a week for a while, and I'm trying to get back into that routine. It's very, very beneficial to take a break from screens, from all these excessively stimulating things that stimulate your dopamine and your brain chemistry. Do I drink yerba mate? I used to drink yerba mate. I used to love yerba mate. I had the gourd, like the filtered straw. I was hooked on yerba mate for a few years. But when I started practicing Qigong, I got really, really sensitive to the things I was putting in my body. And, yerba mate has a lot of caffeine in it, and it was just way too overstimulating for me. So I stopped, but I used to love it. And it's much, much better than coffee. It has a lot of minerals and antioxidants and things in it, but it's just the caffeine was way too stimulating for me. Reignite passion. It's been 15 months since our first child. Seeking spiritual foreplay. Yeah, I mean, so when you're in a relationship and things are kind of stagnant, then you kind of have to make a change. Like, maybe take a new approach with it, like, hey, let's take this couples course together or something. Let's go on a retreat together. Let's do some breathing practices together. Hold your partner, you sit together and just breathe with each other, where you inhale at the same time, you exhale at the same time, and just connect, things like that. Red coffee can be a testosterone booster. For me, caffeine, it makes it kind of depletes my sexual energy because it tends to release cortisol in the body, which suppresses testosterone, and it makes me a bit too, it can really activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is not beneficial if you want to last longer in bed and things like that. Yeah, Organite does block EMF emissions. I've got an Organite pyramid. I've been making these guys in my garage. I put a shungite base, got some copper in here, turquoise powder, amethyst, and some selenite stones here. So I've been making these Organite pyramids. How to prevent retrograde ejaculation when edging. Don't go over the edge. Retrograde ejaculation is where you ejaculate into the bladder, basically. So it gives the illusion that you've had a dry orgasm, but you're ejaculating into the bladder, then you urinate it out. So it's really no different. It's not necessarily harmful, but it's still an ejaculation. So to prevent retrograde ejaculation, don't hit the point of no return, the point at which you ejaculate. So when I talk about non-ejaculatory orgasms, I'm not talking about genital-centered orgasms where there's a spasming in your prostate and you're having this very short-lived peak orgasm. The non-ejaculatory orgasms I focus on are energetic orgasms. The whole body gets into this. It's more of a state than this short-lived peak experience. I go into great depth on this on my 6-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. But if you don't have a retrograde ejaculation, don't hit the point of no return. If I have just a drop leak out when doing the big draw, does it mean I failed? No, it's not a big deal. You'll lose a drop here and there. Nothing's really a failure. Everything's a process of training. It's sexual kung fu. It's training and discipline. Even if you accidentally ejaculate, during training, whatever, you're getting to know your body better. So, it will happen here and there. You kind of have to explore where your edge is at so you can better navigate it in the future. No, I don't think it's ever too late for any man to do semen retention. I think the older a man gets, the more important it is for them to do semen retention because the older you get, the more of a toll it takes on your body to ejaculate. So it's very, very beneficial for men. The older you get, the more beneficial it is, basically. Have you experienced any pain in testicles, kidneys, and other organs from semen retention? Probably a sign I'm not transmuting well. When I was first getting into semen retention, I would have blue balls, testicle pain when I was trying to do non-ejaculatory sex and things like that. And that passed as I learned to really open up my channels and bring the energy upward. So yeah, that's why it's important to do a lot of energy practices and really learn to circulate chi when you're doing semen retention. I don't recommend drinking caffeine daily. I don't do caffeine at all personally. It's overstimulating for me. Like I said, it tends to release cortisol into your system. It can suppress testosterone and keep you in the fight or flight state, the sympathetic state. Too much caffeine, too much coffee can really take a toll on your vitality, basically, because with caffeine, you're basically tapping into your energy reserves, right? You release it causes the adrenals to release. Basically, you're releasing your stored up energy that you would have later. So it's kind of like dipping into your savings account. That's what caffeine's doing. You're just having energy you would have later, right now. And if it's you're having like a cup of coffee here and there, or like minor amounts of caffeine, it's not a big deal. But if you need caffeine to get up and going in the morning, then you're probably have a little bit of adrenal burnout going. Yes, I recommend water. Water is very important. Yeah, you should be drinking at least half of your body weight in water a day of clean, un water that's not laced with nasty chemicals like they do here in the US and a lot of other places. Bottled alkaline water, a good source of water. It depends. Some of the alkaline waters, the bottled waters are low quality. They just put some filtered water and put like baking soda in it and call it alkaline water. So I don't know. I think the best source of water you can get is if you can get water from spring, like a mountain spring, that's the best, or like artesian well water. Otherwise, like reverse osmosis, super, super filtered water where there's no fluoride, no chlorine in it is going to be the best. You can restructure it with like some minerals, some sea salt, or just, you can literally structure water with your thoughts, your feelings, send love into it, send cosmic energy into it. I forget the guy who did the research on water, Emoto. Your emotions affect the structure of water. So you can structure your water by putting intention into it. Poland spring is good. If it's a fresh spring, then yeah, that's great. Yes, I do sun gazing as much as I can. Whenever the sun is out, I do sun gazing in the morning and the evening. Really awesome practice. So it's safe to look at the sun. 30 minutes, the first 30 minutes of sunrise, last 30 minutes of sunset, it's safe to look directly at the sun. Start with a short amount of time, but you can gradually build up. Very, very beneficial. How do you lose more energy? Reverse ejaculation or regular ejaculation? What's a reverse ejaculation? I'm not sure what your definition of reverse ejaculation is. Is the 6-week course open at the moment? No, it is not open, but it will be in just a few weeks. Middle October, I'll be opening up the course. So if you're on my email list, by grabbing my free ejaculation control guide, you will be one of the first to know when the course is open. So I relapsed yesterday after 10 months. Did I lose everything? I feel like I lost nothing. I mean, if you feel like you lost nothing, then clearly you didn't lose much. If you went 10 months, then yeah, one ejaculation is not going to be that big of a deal. Like you may feel a little tired for a day or two and then you're back to normal. So don't worry about it. Again, it's like, do you feel good? Then great. Oh, retrograde ejaculation. You don't lose any more energy from regular ejaculation or retrograde ejaculation. It's pretty much the same. Thoughts on marriage? Is it a scam? It depends who you're marrying, I guess. It could be. I don't know. I mean, it's if you want to get married, that's great. Marriage can be like the greatest thing for one person, and it can be like hell on earth for another person. You know what I mean? It really depends on why you're doing it, who you're marrying. Are you getting married because society and like your parents, your family are pressuring you to because you think you should, or are you getting married because you legitimately love someone and you want to explore the deepest intimacy and commitment with them? You know what I mean? Like it just depends. So it's right for some people. It's not right for other people. It really all just depends. Would you do a longer microcosmic orbit video to really help transmute chi? Well, just, you learn the method, then you do it on your own. That's the most important, is that you're able to do the practice. So you use my guided videos till you really feel like you get it, then practice on your own for longer periods of time, and you've got it. Urine therapy? I don't know. I haven't tried it, but I know a lot of people who are into it. So whatever, if you want to drink some pee, go for it. I mean, supposedly there's lots of benefits to it. You're recycling your hormones and things like that. But I just haven't got myself to drink my pee first thing in the morning every day. So maybe you can try it and let us know. Toast and thumping real quick. Yeah, I got the 8-string guitar. I got a tutorial video from Toast and Abasi doing the thumping stuff. So I'm working on it, but it's not there yet. So give me another month or so. I get paranoid about prostate cancer when I feel like I haven't transmuted that well. What are your views on this? So the thing with prostate cancer is, this whole thing of like, oh, you have to ejaculate to avoid prostate cancer. If that's your only insurance against prostate cancer, clearly you're not that concerned about it, right? 50% of men have prostate issues. So clearly ejaculation isn't the only factor there. Again, if you watch your diet, that's a huge factor in, these sorts of things. Your diet, your health, exercise, and really, really important, take a tennis ball and sit on it so that it's underneath the soft part of your perineum. It will acupress up into the prostate and give you a gentle prostate massage, and that will keep your prostate healthy. You can also take saw palmetto. That's a great supplement. It prevents too much DHT from building up in your prostate, which is one of the causes of that. What do you think of bamboo brush? Are you talking about the little bamboo hitter things? What about consumption of tea during semen retention? It depends. Again, tea has caffeine in it. I'm very sensitive to caffeine now, so I don't do much tea. Sometimes I'll do like a nice green tea. I really like, Gayukuro, like Japanese green teas, but they can be overstimulating, so I don't do it much. But if you drink tea and you feel good, then it's fine. Oh, the bamboo hitter. I haven't used the bamboo one, but I made a steel wire one, like really thick steel wires, to really, really create vibrations. So this is a thing where, for everyone else, there's these hitters. It's a bunch of steel wires kind of, connected together. So you hit yourself with it. It creates these vibrations. It vibrates down deep into your bones and opens up the pores of your bones. Helps to break up toxicity and things like that. It's really amazing practice. So yes, I do that. Do the hitting with the steel beater. No, I haven't heard of Victor Schauberger. Not sure how to say that. The hitters are called, what are they called? Steel wire beaters. Montauk Chia sells them on his website. It's under the section Qigong equipment. So it's just like a big steel wire beater. You can learn more about it in his book, Bone Marrow Neigong, Montauk Chia Bone Marrow Neigong. He details the hitting practice, also the genital weightlifting, which is often used in conjunction with it. So the theory is that you hang weights from your genitals, or for men, you tie it around your package, and that creates a pressure, and then you draw the energy up. It helps you release all these hormones, and you draw them throughout your body, and then you hit your body with the beater to open up the bones and absorb basically your sexual energy into the bones, which keeps you youthful. But I made one. I got all these, I think 10 gauge or something steel wires and cut them up to 100 of them to make this big steel beater thing. But Montauk Chia sells them on his website, so it's probably easier to do that. Yes, you can use Zhanjuan after solo cultivation session. It'll actually help you ground that sexual energy. So it's very beneficial to do that. Yeah, well, so here's the thing with Qi. So you're talking about Zhanjuan builds energy, but I thought you said it sinks and grounds the energy. It does both, because what happens is, this is really the foundation of Tai Chi and internal energy arts. You sink the Qi. All the classics talk about sinking the Qi by releasing all the tension in your body. You sink the Qi, so it sinks into the earth, and then it rises back up from your feet, from your legs, fills up your whole body, fills up the lower dantian. So it grounds, then it shoots back up and fills your body. So that's what's happening in Zhanjuan, is you're simultaneously grounding into the earth, sinking your Qi, and the earth Qi is rising up, filling your whole body, building your lower dantian. So that's what's happening. It's a very, very powerful practice. How often should we do Qigong? I recommend doing it every day. I do it every single day, but I would say at least a few times a week. Does fasting increase sexual energy? It kind of depends, because fasting's not really a building practice. It's a clearing practice. You're not taking anything into your body, so your body's detoxifying itself. So it's going to clear things. So typically a clearing practice is not going to build sexual energy, but If you have a lot of toxicity in your body that's being cleared out as you're fasting, then yes, you will feel more sexual desire. But overall, I wouldn't say fasting builds sexual energy, but it can help you balance out your system so that you're able to build sexual energy more efficiently. No, I haven't done ayahuasca. I'm not really interested in, psychoactive substances, tripping balls, things like that right now. I know there's a lot of spiritual connection with ayahuasca and things like that, but I just haven't really felt the need. I'm more interested in developing the tools within myself to get into these heightened states instead of, relying on some external source for them. Because you can get to the same states through internal meditation, but it takes a lot more discipline. But then it's like you have the power to do it yourself without needing anything from out here. Are you afraid of death? Overall, no. I mean, if someone was to jump in my room with a gun pointing at my head, I'd probably be a little nervous, but I've pretty much nearly died. I was, let's see, it was like 6 years ago. I was living in Maui and I was swimming in the ocean. Really, really sketchy spot to be swimming. It was like just these rocky cliffs, and there was this little area where we kind of climbed down, and there was a little water hole there. So I'm swimming down here, and this big wave and this current starts pulling me out, and the waves are like slamming me into the rocks, and I'm like, stuck in the current. I'm like being pulled under the water. I'm breathing in water. I'm drowning basically. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die. Like this is it. And it was very intense. Then there was kind of this deep peacefulness, like, oh, I'm dying, and like I actually feel quite comfortable. I feel calm and peaceful, and I was okay with it. I was like, okay, I guess it's not that big of a deal. And then this other guy who was like a trained lifeguard, whatever, basically pulled me out of the water and saved my life. So ever since then, I haven't, I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm afraid of death. Like I said, if someone has a gun pointed at me, I'll be a little nervous, but the fear of death is not something that controls me, I would say. Do you regret not starting semen retention in a younger age? I have no regrets. My life's path is how I got to be who I am, and from my experiences, I'm able to help others. So I have no regrets. I'm healthy. I'm happy. I'm living a pretty cool life. So no, I have no regrets about my past. Yes, Yanjuan is very safe for grounding. It will not be counteractive to grounding excessive overheated energy. Again, if anything, it's going to help you ground and cool down that energy if you're doing self-cultivation. How often do you sharpen the sword? About every other day. I'm on a short sharpening program, which I'm teaching in my course, and doing about, well, usually it's like 2 days on, 1 day off, or every other day, something like that. Do I drink natural fruit juice? Yeah, mostly I eat fruit, but I do enjoy fruit juice as well. I have a juicer. In fact, I have a whole apple tree in my yard right now that's full of apples, so I've been having a lot of those. Is Qigong more effective for feeling that tangible energy, or is working with the orbit? I would say in the beginning, Qigong is going to get you there quicker, like feeling Qi. It's pretty easy to feel Qi, in the Qigong practice. With the microcosmic orbit, it takes a bit more time. First, you have to build the Qi. First, you have to build the lower Dantian, actually. In my video, #1 exercise to build energy, I show you the practice that helps you build the lower Dantian. So the lower Dantian in the belly center, it's like your energetic battery. And without a developed Dantian, you basically have no gas in your car. So you don't have much to run through the orbit. So first you develop the Dantian, then you really have some Qi to move through the orbit. Then you'll feel it quite tangibly. Okay, how good are saw palmetto supplements? I think they're great. I mean, as long as you're getting a high quality supplement, make sure it's organic, organically sourced and all that. Yeah, saw palmetto is very beneficial. I think most men over the age of 30 should be taking saw palmetto, at least here and there, because what it does is it helps DHT from building up in the prostate, which is what causes a lot of prostate issues for men. It's a pretty safe herb. I want to master chi and energy cultivation. Where do I start? All these herbs and concepts are new to me. Where would I start? Your class, Tai Chi. Go to my YouTube channel, my Sexual Kung Fu YouTube channel. Go to my Qigong playlist. You go to playlist, Qigong, and I have a full series of Qigong videos. And start with my newest one. I released one a few days ago. It's a full Qigong class. Follow that routine regularly. And then, as you get comfortable with that, you can add other routines. And maybe, you can take my 6-week course in the future if you want to go really deep into it, but that's a great starting point. Premature ejaculation. I talked about this earlier, but basically the most common cause is too much tension in your pelvic floor, hypertension in your pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor contracts in response to penis stimulation. One of the remedies to this is doing reverse Kegels, an outward pushing of your pelvic floor. Also, keeping yourself calm and in the parasympathetic state during sex, since ejaculation is a function of the sympathetic state. Do deep belly breathing slowly during sex. Practice on your own first, and then do it during sex to stay calm and balanced. There's much more to it, but that's a good starting point. I have a playlist on my YouTube about premature ejaculation as well. Smoking weed. How does smoking weed affect sex? Well, it's kind of interesting. This is something I've been looking into. I used to smoke weed every day, and I don't really have it much. Every now and then I'll have some, honestly, but overall, it's not really something I'm very interested in because it's a very up and down. Like you have some weed and you feel great, you're high, woo, and it's kind of an up, but then it's like it's a major down. Like I always felt depressed, unenergized, apathetic the next day. It kind of slams my system because I'm very sensitive to these things. And as far as sex, I found that weed makes me very, very sensitive during sex. It gives me a lot of sexual desire, but overall, I find it hard to control my sexual energy during sex. So, and it also so it has this interesting effect where I've seen some studies showing that THC, it kind of boosts your testosterone while you're high, which I think explains the high sex drive, the high desire you feel when you're high. But when you stop smoking or taking it, the body releases high levels of prolactin, which is the same thing that's released after an ejaculation. So you feel very uninterested in sex, low libido, or you may have problems having erections. So overall, weed's not a great thing to have if you're trying to really build some sexual energy or if you want to, be great in bed. I definitely don't recommend having weed regularly. All right, lots of questions on YouTube. Let me catch up here the best I can. Problem sleeping at night, guide me. So you're in the pattern of I need to ejaculate so I can sleep, and it's fairly common. But basically, you need something else to put your energy into to kind of feel this completion to the pressure you're having. So doing qigong and meditation is extremely important. Otherwise you're just building all this pressure that's not going anywhere, and it will keep you up at night. Make sure you're exercising. Go crush workout at the gym, exhaust yourself, and you'll sleep a lot better. Do productive, creative things to put your sexual energy into. So again, if you're just building on this energy and it's not going anywhere, then you're going to feel this pressure to release it. So you have to keep yourself busy. You have to meditate, do qigong, circulate your qi to keep it fluid and moving so you don't have to release it all the time. Fear of death was lost when I experienced an out-of-body experience during meditation. Yeah, that'll do it too. And that's something for me as well. Like I used to be way into lucid dreaming, and that experience of like having this sort of out-of-body experience where I'm like, okay, this isn't my physical body, but I'm here in this very, very tangible realm. And it became very apparent to me that like death is, it's not the end of everything. It's just another transition. And I'm sure we have a lot more to experience beyond it. So, energy is not created or destroyed. We are infinite beings. So yeah, death's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a transition. Have I ever astral projected? I believe so. It's difficult to say because, some of the astral projection methods are pretty much the same as like when you're going consciously into a dream methods where you basically just lay there and keep your mind awake, but your body falls asleep. You go through like sleep paralysis, which is really, really trippy to consciously go into a dream. Like the room starts like distorting and morphing, and like you hear weird noises and voices, and it's a really weird experience. And all of a sudden you're in the astral plane and you can just like float around and do whatever. It's pretty cool. But I haven't been into that for a while. I'm more into like getting grounded. I built my lower dantian, but recently released. Did all my work go down the drain? No, definitely not. Unless you start releasing like every day. Generally, like that's another thing is once you get skill in these energetic practices, once you build the lower dantian, it can kind of become sort of a measure of your accomplishment. So it's like if you have an ejaculation and then you go to do the dantian meditation, you can't feel your dantian. That's like, okay, you probably lost some gene, but it'll recover. But it would take a lot of ejaculations to really undo building the lower dantian. So don't worry too much about it. Just don't ejaculate frequently if you can help it. What does it feel like when you successfully have a soul mating experience like described in Chia's book? I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. I mean, I'm not sure which book you're talking about. I'm not sure exactly what he describes as soul mating, but I've had incredible, deep, powerful, just universal cosmic orgasms, with my partner, where it's like we're merging together at the same time. It's like my consciousness is expanding beyond my body. My body's like pulsating with energy, just like a full body orgasm. And it's kind of like a psychedelic state, but much better than a psychedelic state. It's very, very powerful and can last for long periods of time. Yeah, you can do Jian every day. I do it every single day. You developed an appetite for it. That's awesome. Oh, Jian has developed your appetite, is what I'm understanding. So you're eating more, which is very good because grounding practices strengthen your stomach and your spleen. This is earth element. A lot of people were disconnected from the earth, lacking grounding. Very up in the head. Up in the mental planes, very disconnected from your root and your feet. And so Jian helps you really sink down, ground. That will strengthen your digestion, strengthen your spleen and your stomach. Digestion issues are very often, not always, but they can be caused by grounding issues. Okay, some advice on which water to drink, like bottled spring water or mineral water we get in grocery stores. Which water do you use? Which brand? It depends where you live. Where I live, there's a lot of these like water machines in stores where it's like a 9-step filtration system. So it's like reverse osmosis, ultraviolet, distillation, all these things. So something like that is really great because you can usually bring like get like a 5-gallon bottle and fill it up with those for pretty cheap. So that's usually the best way to go. Or find like a company that delivers quality water, like spring water, something like that to your house. That's great. I have actually a water ionizer. I actually have a Kangen machine that I got from a friend for a trade that we did a little while ago. So it's a pretty sweet setup. I got a really nice filtration system. So that's what I'm drinking now. But before that, I did, like I said, I would go to the stores and get these, water filter machines and fill up a big 5-gallon jar with that. Talking about the multi-orgasmic man where you're transferring each other's energies. Yeah. So yeah, like I shared my experience. It's extremely powerful. It's very, very powerful. How did I find a woman who was down for Careza, etc., for the sexual kung fu lifestyle, basically, right? I mean, I manifested it. I knew what I wanted in a person. It was like, okay, this is the kind of person I want to be with. You have to get clear on what you want in any situations. Like, what do you want in your life? What kind of partner do you want? Write it down. Get a piece of paper. If you're trying to manifest a partner, a soulmate, whatever, get out a piece of paper and write down everything that you want in a partner. I want a partner with, brown hair, whatever, blue eyes, a partner who likes these things, a partner who's loyal, whatever. Write it down, get clear on what you want, and then you can like bury it or burn it and just be like, release into the universe. And I'm also using my sexual energy to manifest as well. But you always attract that which you are. So when you're doing these practices, when you're really raising your vibration and evolving as a human and a spiritual being, then you will start to naturally draw people into your path who are resonating with that. Distilled water, it can be, it can be very beneficial. There's one guy I studied with, I think his name's Jeff. Yeah, Jeff Primack. He like swears by distilled water because it actually pulls out, for example, it pulls out a lot of the if you have arthritis, distilled water will actually pull out a lot of those, that buildup of toxicity that's causing arthritis and things like that. So distilled water can actually be very cleansing, and you can easily mineralize it by just sprinkling a little bit of sea salt, or like they make mineralization blends and things like that. So distilled water can be a good way to go. Yes, I do recommend taking zinc supplements. Do I know anything about absorbing other people's energy? How do you stop this? Yes, I know quite a bit about this. Basically, you have to be able to maintain your energy field, maintain your boundaries. The thing is that most people are completely unconscious about what's happening with their energy field. Also understanding that what you focus on, you're sending your energy to. So basically learning to manage your energy field is important, right? This is why Qigong is really, really helpful, because it really starts to develop these flows of energy, give you a strong boundary, basically. So, developing energetic skill. Here's something I'll share with you. You can always become aware of your energetic field. Just feel it like a bubble around you, just using your mind, and like experiment with expanding it really far. And then feel like it's contracting around your body. You want to, if you're out in public, out in like a public area, you want to keep your energy field kind of closed in, not closed in, but like, you want to keep it manageable within your general vicinity. And when you're out in nature, you can really, really expand it out. So the more expanded it is, the easier it is to like take on stuff from other people. You can also clear yourself. So let's do a quick clearing practice. So just feel your feet on the earth. Feel like you have roots connected to the center of the earth. Breathe up from the earth. Feel like you're breathing up this watery blue energy, just washing through every cell in your body. It's pouring up through the crown of your head, clearing out your body. Connecting up to a distant star. And then you exhale and feel like the star, the violet flame of the star is pouring down through your body, every single cell, burning through it, down the legs and down the center of the earth. Breathing up from the earth to a distant star. Exhaling down. So you feel that watery earth energy clearing you as it moves up. You feel the violet star fire clearing you as it moves down. So do that for a few minutes, and it really, really helps you to clear your energy field. And again, managing it, managing the size of it. This is something I learned the hard way. Semen retention, also useful for mental health. It definitely can be, especially if you're, someone who's been addicted to porn and very unhealthy sexual habits over the years. These often take a toll on your mental health as well. So semen retention can really help you to, also balance your brain chemistry. When you're frequently ejaculating, you're losing a lot of zinc, which leads to brain fog, poor memory, lack of focus. So by retaining your semen, you have a much better supply of zinc, and you'll have much more focus, much more clarity as well. Yeah, Taoist Secrets of Love, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy is a classic. I would say the practices in it are a bit outdated, but they're great. They're great starting points. Yeah, distilled water will, if it's in a plastic jug, it'll absorb all that plastic. That's what, yeah, you want to stay away from plastic as much as possible. Get a glass bottle. You can even get a water distiller yourself. Was it hard to start spreading my knowledge with other people and making material? Not really, because I'm very passionate about it, and I'm definitely this is definitely part of my mission. It's part of my purpose here on this planet is to spread this work with the world. So it's been a very obviously I had to do a lot of inner work, a lot of my own development, transformational to get to the point where I started to, you know, share it with the world. And then once I started, it was just very fluid. It's been very, it's obviously what I'm meant to be doing. So obviously there was a lot of development involved. I had to overcome my own limitations, but it's been very fulfilling. Book would I recommend for updated semen retention practices? There's not really many books on it, to be honest with you. So I don't know. Tao Secrets of Love is a great starting point. Stephen Chang has a book called Tao of Sexology that's great as well. But there's not a lot of great reading material on this. There's definitely some, but yeah. Do you ever meditate while listening to different frequencies of music? I don't use music when I'm meditating because I found it to be a bit of a crutch. Like you're kind of relying on this thing, and it can prevent you from getting to a deeper state. I prefer to meditate just, stillness. But I do enjoy listening to, meditative music sometimes. Would I consider Qigong a spiritual practice? It's my exclusive meditative practice now. I enjoy it a lot more than typical meditation or breathing. It certainly can be a spiritual practice. It's really what you make of it. I mean, we could say Darth Vader was doing Qigong to get so powerful, but he wasn't the most spiritual being, was he? It can be a power trip, but it can also be a very, very powerful spiritual practice. It's all about your intention. When you're intending to connect with higher forces, to harmonize and balance and transform, then yes, it can be a very spiritual experience. But if you're just using it to like develop power and develop control, over other people and stuff like that, then a bit of dark side stuff there. So you always have the choice. How about jelqing? Is that important? I don't use jelqing anymore. It's potentially hazardous. I use a new method I've been talking about. It's called the Angion method, Angion. Why do I think all this is not general culture in men? Well, because the planet's been controlled by very dark forces for some time. And fortunately now, a lot of this ancient stuff is reemerging, and we're going through this massive planetary transformation. We're experiencing a paradigm shift, and there's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of dark agendas, but overall, I think things are going to be all right. So understand that the media, everything we're taught in schools, our history is fabricated. Media news is all fabricated by, you look at who owns all of these news companies, media outlets. They're all owned by this small elite group of people who have a lot of control over what information we're seeing. So you really have to, do your own research to try to see what's really going on this planet. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here in just a moment. Let me answer a few more questions here. How do the 7 chakras interact with chi, since they are 2 different concepts? They're not really 2 different concepts. They're just 2 different cultural sort of systems. The 7 chakras relate to these energy centers in the Taoist system. There's all these points, these acupuncture points along the microcosmic orbit, and each point corresponds to a chakra. So as you're running, for example, once you're running the microcosmic orbit where chi is flowing in a loop throughout your body, it's interacting with all these energy centers. It's harmonizing and balancing them. So for me, this is the most effective way of working with the chakra system. Just running the orbit balances it all out. Yes, I do eat snacks. What are my views on yoga? I think yoga is fantastic. I do yoga every day. I've been doing it every day for like 8 or 9 years now. It's one of my first practices, but it has its limitations. Yoga is primarily a physical practice, at least, asana, usually when we say yoga, we're talking about the asana limb of yoga, right? Yeah, it has its limitations. Just stretching your body is great, but you're not going to get a very deep connection with your internal energy with it. That's why Qigong for me is my primary energy practice. Yoga is more just, keeps me flexible, keeps my circulation good. Yoga is great, but for me, it's not enough. Is taking zinc and natural herb testosterone boosters overkill when you're already doing semen retention? Potentially. Testosterone boosters can definitely be overkill. So it's all about balance. Do you feel like you need more, more yang, more sexual drive? Then take some supplements. But if you're already like, very, very high sexual energy, then yeah, taking testosterone supplements can just kind of throw you over the edge. Help me to manifest, to move on in my life, get out of my parents' house and live my truth. Only you can do that. Get your sexual energy under control, build your chi, do some qigong, do some meditation, build your chi every morning. Get clear of what it is that you want. You want to move out of your parents' house, right? So write down how much income, how much money do you want to have? Where do you want to live? What kind of house do you want to have? What do you want to do for work? What do you want your exchange with the world to be, right? What's your purpose? So write these things down, get clear on it. And then every day, focus on those things. Get yourself into a meditative state, drop into your heart space, feel love, feel gratitude to activate that super powerful heart magnetic field that's 10 times more powerful than the brain. Get into that space and then focus on those things that you want. Feel that you already have achieved them right now in this moment. Feel that emotion of gratitude for having achieved it. And then when you're inspired throughout the day, take action. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. Thanks everyone for joining me. Hope you guys have a great day, great rest of your weekend. What else? Yeah, Multi-Orgasmic Man's opening soon, my 6-week course, which will help you go in depth into, first of all, clearing your self-sabotaging patterns, clearing negative emotions, old traumas, and then building your chi, building pathways in your body to move chi, and then moving your sexual energy through them, learning to experience multiple orgasms. So that's opening up in a few weeks. All right. Much love, guys.